Hey everyone, good evening. Sorry we're coming on a little bit late, but I did not want to disrupt Osceola Action, which just had a live a little while ago. It just ended a few minutes ago. We have a very short school district meeting this past Tuesday, and I just kind of get through it as quickly as possible and let everyone go to bed at a decent hour. So please take the time to share and let your friends know. I'm going to do a really quick prayer and then we're going to get right into it. So welcome and hang tight. Hopefully this will be a very quick and easy show. Lord, we had a great day to live in the United States, to have the opportunity to contribute when the country needs it the most today. I pray that people become involved in the school district, really take part in their school board and in their leadership governance of this county, especially when it revolves around children and students. And please bring more pastors to the school board meetings to pray like the amazing prayer that we had at this past school board meeting. Thank you in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. And wow, what a prayer it was at this last school board meeting. Yanis Morales, a recent candidate for Congress, came and delivered a prayer, and she was bold, if there's any other word I can use for it. Bold. She was extremely bold in her message. It was very clear what she meant. She really has an interest in the future of our students, the way that everyone should, and it came through in her prayer that evening. So if you're a pastor and you watch or you know a pastor, please have them come out and participate in this aspect of the school board meetings. Have them come out and say a prayer. If you could, please share this live with your groups. If you have any that you think might be interested, might benefit from this, we're going to talk a little bit about statewide education stuff going on as well. And meaning the first thing, well, let's talk about a national one first. So there's if you look, give me one moment here. I'm going to share here, but I wanted to go through some of these. I have a very interesting post. If you look down in the feed, you'll see a very interesting post by an organization called Castle. And Castle is an organization that I remember because I went to a SAC convention about a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago. And at that SAC convention, they talked about this organization, Castle, where they were really selling hard this SEL movement, the social emotional learning movement. And it is not pleasant. In fact, I'm going to show you why in a minute. And if you see the acronym SEL when it comes to education, you should run away as fast as you can. Do not let anyone trick you and make you believe the way that I believed and the way that I was tricked, that social emotional learning concepts are good for our students. They do not appear to be good for our students. And they absolutely have an agenda, and that agenda I think is going to shock you when I show it to you in one moment here. Again, please share, comment, ask questions right now while I'm kind of getting this set up. And I should have done it earlier, but we were kind of busy and running late, so it is what it is. But, oops. All right, so let me show you this to you here. And again, this is Castle. You cannot make this stuff up, okay, folks? This is just craziness out in the open. It's not people that you would want in charge of a school district or in charge of kids. So this is an article, a blog post called Transformative SEL, Social Emotional Learning and Mathematical Liberation for 2 SLGBTQIA plus students. I'm going to hold it up for you to see right there so that everyone can read it. If the headline is not crazy enough, it begins with this person stating that she's a teacher and she is just now unconditionally accepting her queer Latinx identity and questioning the human desire to categorize and normalize. This is craziness. Read the article, go down and pick up the article yourself. It's absolutely crazy. It's just this is where how you know that these movements are terrible. Second thing, I wanted to bring that up because I just posted it, but the governor recently released a 17 county kill list, meaning that he has targeted 17 school board members throughout the state of Florida. He made the list public. I'll go and I'll post those names. Unfortunately, I did earlier this week, but unfortunately Osceola County was not in those lists. So we're going to see what we can do about that. There's a Democrat up for re-election now, and there's also Democrats that there's been some kind of speak about a movement to remove some of the people that we have on the board. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's important. But we do need to expand this list. We're a little bit late, right? Because if the governor had gotten involved, certainly in our previous election, we would have a different outcome for teachers. We'd have a different outcome for leadership. It would be a world of difference. And so we kind of lost that opportunity. Hopefully we can make up for it in this next election and in the following election after that. So 2024, 2026, we're looking for great things. Also, wow, the kids from Harmony High School who sang the national anthem, that was incredible. I wish we had the clip. That's one thing I didn't think about. We should have had that clip. Incredible. Go watch the school board meetings on YouTube and hear these kids sing the national anthem. It was a masterpiece. All right. Let's talk about the public hearing. So there was a public hearing on the school board meeting, during the school board meeting, redistricting plan caused by just having jumbled students everywhere. Our schools are overflowing. We got kids coming out of the rafters, and it's basically overdevelopment and what that means. So we had to have a public hearing so that they can take some kids, relieve celebration of some of their students so that they can put them in Osceola High School. Osceola High School just has a ton of students. So when you have this many students, I don't think that the education system was ever designed to have 3,000 kids in one school. Obviously, what that does is it creates chaos, right? And chaos leads to discipline problems. And you can see that because we have desperate discipline problems in Osceola County schools. So that public hearing, like as I just said, we got started a little bit late so that Osceola Action can do their their live meeting. But at the same time, their chief concern is overdevelopment, responsible development, right? And I encourage you to go to their website and look at them, osceolaaction.com. However, that it's not overdevelopment doesn't just cause more traffic, it causes horrendous educational problems. We don't have bus drivers. Even if we can build a school, we have the money to build a school. We build a school, we don't have any teachers to put there. So it's creating huge problems. Your kids are not getting educated, and a large part of that is because people are profiteering off of development in a way that is just putting an intense amount of pressure on education in our county. And we have not been proactive in dealing with that. Next thing that we discussed in the school board meeting, the Mark Clinch resignation. We voted on whether that got tabled last time to this time. I'm not going to speak too much on the Mark Clinch issue and what happened. I will say it was very clear based on the letter that was submitted as part of the public record that this gentleman, probably the best performing executive in the school district, okay, he was chief of facilities, and that was the best, by any metric, the best operating department in the entire school district. He was forced to resign because he reported on some things that he saw that maybe weren't up to snuff, that you would people wouldn't tolerate in other places. And in the professional field, you wouldn't in the private sector. Nowhere else would you tolerate this kind of stuff. But in the public sector in Osceola County, it's what we expect, right? We expect it from our county commissioners to be corrupt. We expect from a lot of people at the cities to be corrupt. We expect for the school board to be corrupt, and that's what they're doing. But this gentleman was not, and he was not happy with it, and so he said some things and did a couple of things to try to fix the problem, and he was sacked for it. So he submitted that letter of resignation. Next up, so watch the meeting, read the documentation on there. It's under the Human Resources tab. You'll find the Mark Clinch resignation letter and so on, and also a letter there he was basically threatened where he had to resign. And then after that, some of the things that was worthy of note, the sole source. When you see sole source in a school board transaction, right? What it really means is that there's a lobbyist involved. That's how you get a sole source contract. This is sole source for materials for schools. Now, our assistant superintendent, she made a good case for it. They had some school board members that don't know what they're talking about, talk about some emails or whatever, and that's neither here nor there, right? Every company is going to say we're the only ones that can provide this level of service for this reason, and so they took a memo from the company saying that they are the sole source for this product. But that's ridiculous. I mean, that will work on fools like we have on the left side of the dais on the school board, right? People who don't do their homework, but it's not going to survive off of anybody who does under any scrutiny, right? So that sole source, those contracts, I don't like those. Of course, it passed. Right? She made a good case for it. I voted for it because she made a good case for it. But that's what we should expect from all of our officials, is that they absolutely positively drive it home, make a good case for it, make sure that they're complying with their contracts, right? The vast majority of our school board meeting was essentially on the public hearing. And then there was another point of contention, and that was the real estate contract. So we have a realtor, we have a real estate broker at the school district. And obviously the school district has a large amount of money. They do big projects. They buy land. But there's been a lot of contention regarding this real estate broker. So for a couple of reasons. Number one, again, when they put this out to bid, they did it in a fashion that they almost guaranteed that this company would win, right? And they did it by changing how they basically how they scale it, how they judge it. So this company was going to get it. The district wants this company really bad. For whatever reason, they want this company really bad. That's what this means, right? It doesn't mean that they're so great, that these are the best. I don't know. I personally, I only know of one mistake that they made. It was a $250,000 mistake when we bought the Nova Road property from the Newman family, right? A great family who did a great job in providing us with that lot. They sold that lot to us. They ended up paying a $250,000 fee to our real estate broker. They were it wasn't part of the whole transaction, from what I understand. It wasn't planned. We didn't use their people, right? This was our broker who went and found the land and so on. So the interesting thing is that not only was that left a bad taste in my mouth, at the same time, that Newman family's attorney, guess who it was? Joe Thacker. So our chairman at the time, his wife was the attorney on the other side of that deal. That family lost. I mean, how good is their attorney if she lost them $250,000? I don't know. I'm the lawyer. I'm just speculating. I don't know all the details. But hey, when our chairman is Clarence Thacker, the attorney on the other side of a $10 million deal is Joe Thacker, his wife. And then the company in between gets paid $250,000 from the seller, our person. That's supposed to come from the other agent, right? So I don't know how that worked out. That definitely left a bad taste in my mouth. This family did a great thing by selling us land that they could have sold for more money to a different developer, but they didn't want to do that because they know the pressures of development that we're feeling now. So this is a family who sacrificed to do the right thing, and then they ended up paying another extra $250,000 on top of it for the community. So if any of you know the Newman family out there in St. Cloud, go give them a shake of the hand and let them know that you appreciate their investment in our education system here in Osceola County. But again, Melendez went off, right? In the end, he was like, he doesn't want this company. Just like the school district does want this company to, they want this company. Who knows why they want this company so bad? But Melendez also does not want this company so bad. So I don't know. I don't have I don't have a dog in that fight. I have my own preferences. My plan from all along was that we should go to the real estate organization here in Osceola County, right, Oscar, and we should ask all the brokers to do a round robin, right? You get in line, get qualified to work with the district, right? Get qualified as somebody who can handle the business, and then get in the round robin, and we just take turns. One deal goes to this guy, next deal goes to this guy, next deal goes to this guy, and then what you're doing is you're keeping money inside the county, and you're giving money to all these brokers and helping them grow their business and do good things, right? I mean, that would make sense. But there's a reason that they're going to this company. There's a reason. There has to be, right? Nothing has ever been clean in Osceola County, right, from my experience. So even though I can't say anything bad about this company, I don't have any, aside from what I've already mentioned, you can just tell. When you can tell that the school district wants somebody so bad that they put it on the agenda 10 times, they look like fools over messing it up 10 times, they really want them bad. So, what else? Public comments. Let's talk about public comments for a minute. There was an extremely compelling public comment, where a teacher came in and talked about how they were essentially assault and battered by a student who happened to be, almost 6.5 feet tall and weighed 300 pounds, is what the gentleman said. And this was a student who was not only endangering our teachers or our personnel, but also potentially other students. It was a very, very compelling video. This happens. This is a mistake of the district. It's because of the district. It's not because of a mistake of the teacher or the principal or anybody else. This is a district problem. It's district-wide. Our ESE teachers are being battered and abused and stretched way too thin. Let's watch. We do have that video, so we're going to play that video right now. Give me one second here to get it up and running, and then.
Good evening, Dr. Pace, distinguished board members. My name is Daniel Morris. I'm an ESC transition teacher at Tohopokalika High School. On January 18th, I was attacked by one of my transition students. The student was 19 years old, 6'5", and over 300 pounds. Upon being shoved to the ground, the adult student began delivering multiple punches to my head, kicking and jumping on my body. I remember thinking that I might not make it home to my wife and 2-year-old twin daughters. I was helpless. I kept telling myself, don't move, don't do anything. They'll think you're just fighting back. Just lie there and take the blows. And hopefully, help will come. Help did come. As the teacher ran to my rescue, she was immediately punched in the jaw. Only after a much larger teacher entered the hallway and was able to push him off, I was able to survive the assault. Why did the student attack, you ask? Because a student who is an adult gets pleasure from physical contact with underage girls. If he's not redirected and asked not to touch, the adult student will have an erection, and that isn't uncomfortable in any situation. I'm here to speak up so that this doesn't happen to someone else. Due to the ever-present staffing issues throughout the district, the student was not provided with their special needs assistant as stated in their IEP. As a teacher, I did my job documenting daily outbursts as he would become angry and throw chairs or any object in his way. For almost 2 years, I collected data and tried numerous behavior interventions and modifications. You see, I knew this would happen. He told me he was going to kill me. He told me he was going to break my legs. After numerous attempts to contact the school district behavior team about the explosive and violent behavior, the calls were answered, simply saying, "We're looking into it." We were able to finally receive a response from the district. The suggestion was to give the student task analysis and with each activity, and CPI to address the violent outbursts with physical aggression. Please allow me to be frank, but CPI does not work on a student who is 6'5", over 300 pounds. After the attack, I was told the student would receive 45 days of suspension and would be returning to school in March. I'm terrified. I do not feel safe. Tonight, I'm here to turn my fear into action. I'm here to advocate for my fellow teachers. We all understand the importance of FAPE, or free appropriate public education, but at some point we need to review whether the current placement for a violent student is keyword appropriate in the traditional brick and mortar school, or else FAPE is being disregarded. As teachers, we're not appropriately trained, nor are we staffed to handle adults with violent behavior. From a transition standpoint, if we are not preparing the student for work, then we are simply providing free adult daycare until they reach the age of 22. Tonight, I'm asking the board to be proactive instead of reactive, and to take action by strongly considering an alternative means of placement for students with violent behavior.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Yeah, so incredible, extremely compelling public comment from this teacher, an ESE teacher who appears to be have a disability of his own. They're doing the work, the hardest work in the district, being an ESE professional. We have classrooms where, I spoke to an ESE teacher recently, and she told me they put 14 kids in this classroom, and you have kids with behavior problems, kids with intellectual disabilities, and they're all just jumbled together, right? So they're not getting appropriate services, but they're saving money in doing it that way, and that's the real shame. So if we're going to do this job, we have to do it a different way. This is not working. This is not right. To put teachers in danger, which are discipline problems throughout the district, are causing a safety issue for all of our teachers, right? This is not the only kid that's 6'5" and 300 pounds in our school district. We got a bunch of athletic old kids in high school, right? And if they don't have the discipline to respect the authority of their teachers or of their educational professionals, then we're putting everyone at danger, right? And obviously that leads to dangers for the country. I don't understand it. This is practically a crime to allow this to happen. The district obviously is on notice that they have created that situation. The superintendent after this said that they were not going to allow that student back in school. But what about all the other cases? What about the cases where there's no violence, there's nobody getting beat up, but at the same time you have kids with intellectual disabilities mixed with kids who have physical disabilities, and they're together because it's just easier for us, right? But they're not getting the education that they deserve, right? And we can't keep any teachers, so they're hemorrhaging teachers. It's a huge issue. This needs to be resolved, but nobody will talk about it. Why? The guys at the very top, a superintendent, for example, who's essentially a public official, they have built their careers on making sure that these types of stories don't get out, on making sure that parents don't know what's going on. The fact that our education system is failing, the fact that our teachers are barely able to survive on a daily basis, these are circumstances and issues that these people who rise to the top, the cream, so to speak, that rises to the top to become a superintendent, these are people who they built their career. So now the public knows, right? Parents have had enough. We're fed up. I'm not going to put my kid in a public school. I've had enough. I'm not going to put my kid in this danger. I'm not going to put my kid where they're constantly looking at library books that have nudity in them. Folks, this is crazy. I'll show you another picture here. This is an actual book that people were fighting over whether or not to keep in schools. This is no joke anymore. This is viewer discretion advised. Before I put this up on the screen, please be advised, this is a very uncomfortable image. It's not something that I'm proud to show, but I feel like if I don't, then for heaven's sakes, no one will know what's going on in the schools. And I can't handle it anymore. I'm not going to hide what's happening in the school district. Now, I don't know that we have this book in our schools, but I'm just going to flash this up there. Again, viewer discretion advised. Okay, this is not nice. This is picture. I don't know if you saw that or not, but these are people having sex and basically what would be pornographic on our school shelves, library shelves. Okay? People are fed up. People are fed up. People are talking about Roberto Clemente. Roberto Clemente is a hero of mine. I would love to read his book. I have not, but I would love to read his book. I would not be offended by any kid hearing his struggle against racism in the United States. That doesn't offend anyone. That's a national hero. He died delivering humanitarian aid to where my parents are from, Nicaragua, when they had a natural catastrophe of an earthquake. It was terrible that it basically destroyed the entire capital. He died in that process, so we know him very well. Nobody's offended by learning about his dealings with racism, okay? What we don't want is for these people to take advantage to push forward a political agenda of normalizing hypersexualized content. I don't want my daughter to grow up and be like Madonna. That's not what I want for my kids. I don't want my son to be like this guy, Sam Smith. He doesn't even know if he's a guy or not. What I want is for my kids to be decent and responsible citizens of this country, to enjoy the access to a free education, to enjoy my grandkids to enjoy access to free education. But until I can trust the school system to create a system that's not going to hypersexualize my kids' educational experience, I don't trust it for my kids. And it's not the teachers. I know there's a big focus on some radical teachers that go in there, they look crazy, they hang all these crazy things up on their walls and whatever. But that's rare. The majority of these teachers are struggling to survive, just to feed their own kids, which they love and they know. These are not sick individuals like the ones that you see on TikTok being crazy. Okay? The 99% of teachers are just there to do the job. But if you have good leadership, even the crazy ones will fall in line. You know why? Because everybody knows there's a task to do, and I'll pay the price. I'll find myself outside of the classroom if I come in. As long as there's a clear set of rules, right? As long as there's an environment for education to be delivered under circumstances that are acceptable to the public, to the community, right? Then everything will be fine. But when you're so much of as a public official, you're a coward and you can't do what's right because it might put your own career in danger, well, then this stuff happens. You have chaos. And that's what we got in Osceola County Schools. We have chaos. We may not be as bad as some districts, but I guarantee you we're below average. And I'll tell you what proves that, our scores. Our scores are far below average. We had a workshop prior to the school board meeting. Our scores were atrocious. Across every sector, we were behind the state average. Now listen, what does that mean? Now, we found that out weeks ago that we were below the state average on testing and so on. And then they were so embarrassed, right? And of course, they know I'm going to tell everybody, look at our scores. What's wrong with our scores? I'm going to hold them to account. Well, we check out our scores. They come back on Tuesday, and they found a new measuring tape where we don't look as bad. That's what they did. They say, oh, well, listen, we're only a couple points, 4 big points here, 10 points below the bottom of the line, right? We're only 4 points here. In every respect, we're below the state average. The state average is not the goal, it's the minimum, right? You don't want to be below that line. If you're below the state average, and then they say, oh, well, our kids are poor, they're Hispanic, we have English language learners, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so listen, we have kids that come from India, right? Don't speak English, have to learn English, and then they grow up to be doctors here. Why? Because their parents are all over the place. That's a huge component, is the parenting, right? But we can't control the parenting component of this, right? We can get these kids that are from Latin America to learn English and to speak the way my mother did. Okay? The way my family came here and learned to speak English and assimilate, and my mother got a job at a Fortune 100 company, and she went from being a little operator, a telephone operator, to becoming a CFO for a multinational corporation. You can do it. It can be done. But it's not going to happen when we have low expectations and when your first excuse, because you're not great at your job, is to come in and say, well, we're only a few points behind. If our kids had more money, if their families were better, if the parenting was better, then they would be doing better on these tests. That's not good enough. That expectation is exactly what ruins these kids' experience. If you don't have a high expectation of these kids, then nobody's going to succeed. And that's what they're doing. They're basically setting these kids up to fail in life. Something else I wanted to mention really quickly before we go. HB1 passed. So HB1 is through committee. That is the basically what we have is school choice. That is where money follows the kid. I have not seen the actual bill that got through committee, so I don't know how it passed exactly, but that means that our money is going to start following kids in a different way. That is a positive for public schools. Listen, I know that people say, oh, well, this is going to, only the union says this really, only the state and the federal union, they say, oh, this is going to kill public education. First of all, if you killed public education is on its deathbed right now if we don't make changes. If we don't start paying teachers, if we don't start getting these scores up, if we don't start disciplining these kids, if we don't start having some kind of semblance of order in our school districts, they're already on their deathbed. Right? And the first step is to rewrite the way that instead of making sure that lobbyists get paid, make sure that our teachers get paid. That would be a big giant shift, right? All of a sudden you'd be way changing the environment, number one. And lastly, number two, sorry, somebody was coming in, so I didn't want to talk over the noise there, but listen, we need to fix the problem. We need to pay teachers more, and we need to create a set of leadership. We have to have a leadership culture that improves this experience for the kids. We don't have that now. That needs to happen. If our elections in Osceola County had been different, and this is just for the entire state, I hope that somebody, we had people who watched the Unsanctioned from North Florida, South Florida. We had people all over the state commenting. We had people all over the state watching the last episode of Unsanctioned. So I'm hoping that the same thing happens here. Listen, it doesn't matter where you are. Get involved in those school board races. You shift those seats. Put pressure on those politicians to make things happen. Don't let loose. I know that the Moms for Liberty got some people in, and they've been kind of like trying to put pressure on the politicians that they got elected to make good choices, and that's really what we need to be doing. Governor, I hope this I know that he doesn't watch, but somebody who can relay a message to the governor, hey, come pay attention to Osceola. We need to change some of these seats here in Osceola County so that we can hold our people accountable here and start getting these kids an education. Do not abandon Osceola County. We need attention in Osceola County. This is not about, I know that they're going to say that this is all about money. This is not about money. We have enough money. Okay, if we didn't get another dime, I can show you a way that we can provide a better education to students. And it begins with rewriting our budget so that we're putting teachers and students first, not lobbyists and special interests. So thank you very much. Fast show tonight. I don't know what's our time on this so far. So God bless you all. Stay with me. Please share. Oh, let me say a couple of announcements. So we had some people. I had somebody call, and they asked me if they could sponsor the show. So that was very cool. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Please, we're going to start trying to do some cool things on the show. We need to invest in some equipment and just in some processes and licensing and so on and so forth. So absolutely, we'll take sponsorship. You'll see those sponsorships come up here pretty soon. And we're on YouTube. We will be putting out a podcast, so you'll find us on your Apple podcasts and Google podcasts and everything else. So you'll find us, okay? So YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, pretty much on everything you'll find us. So please look out for us, whichever your favorite way is. We're trying to just get the message out to everyone that we can. We do appreciate your support. Again, please share. Also, please follow me on Twitter. My Twitter numbers have increased a little bit here. It's been creeping up. So, I had about 8 followers a couple months ago, competing hard with Tom, to get to 10 first. And now I'm at about 230. So it's not a serious number, but please do. Unless you're easily offended, then don't follow me on Twitter, because you might not survive the experience. So if you have interest in being a sponsor of the show, please let me know. If you have an area, if you have a business that you'd like to promote, we'd like to promote you even if you don't want to sponsor the show. Well, I think at the end we'll just say, hey, check out these businesses, very quickly, and put out some, help people where we can to stimulate the local economy. And that is all I got. So thank you very much. God bless you. I appreciate your support. Please like and share. Oh, last thing, please accept the invites. If you've received an invite for school board member John Arguello, please accept the invite. Go into your invites. There might be a whole bunch, but please go in there, find me, accept our invite. We've been kind of static at the same number for a long time, and we're shadow banned. So we really need for you guys to go and actually accept the invite so that you get the proper notifications and so on. Otherwise, you see this days late. You see all of our notifications late. You see all of our news late. So please go and accept that invite. There's no way that we can have 20,000 viewers, 10,000 viewers, hopefully 30,000 viewers soon, and then not be growing in that followers. So please go and accept that invite to follow the show. And if did not get the invite, please and that's it. I think there was one more thing I wanted to say. I can't remember. But thank you. God bless you. Reach out to me anytime. The phone number is 407-569-7111. If you want to be on the show, also let us know that. We're happy to have guests on the show and talk to people and take differences of opinion. You don't have to come in. You can call in. You can call in for Unsanctioned. Watch Unsanctioned. We are going static. I keep saying last thing, but here we go. Something else. Unsanctioned, we're going to start doing every other Wednesday. Right, so school board unsanctioned will be 1 week, and then the following week we'll have unsanctioned, the unsanctioned show with me and Tom, and we'll be alternating those weeks and doing it every other week, and so you'll get a weekly show either for school board report or unsanctioned. So thank you, God bless you. Look forward to speaking with all of you soon. Until the next time, thank you.